Catholicism in Europe and how it went from being everywhere to being almost nowhere or very few places that practice the faith. I think that's a great challenge. Look that up. Spend some time on it. It's pretty revealing.
Yeah, Pope Benedict has a former Pope Benedict has a great book on that. I think it's just called Europe, but it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, it didn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
That's a challenge to you. Let's not be European.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another fun-filled Friday episode of the BeatiDudes, a podcast for Christian men seeking to grow in holiness, learning from, with each other, walking arm in arm, listening to each other's stories, encouraging each other along the way. My name is Paul Kolker. I am joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Nick Besner.
What's going on?
And Jeff Scheffelbein.
What's going on?
Nice. And we're back with none other than John Singleton, who, if you didn't hear the Monday episode, author of a phenomenal book about Mount St. Mary's.
The meaning of Mount St. Mary's.
There he is, and that charming dulcet tone that you just heard right there is none other than John Singleton himself. Welcome back to the show.
Do I sound like a real Easterner from the East Coast?
Oh, it sounds authentic.
Okay.
Authentico.
Okay. Thank you. We'll start speaking Italian again.
See, there you go. Muy bien.
Yeah. Everybody north of the Mason-Dixon just sounds stupid.
Wow.
I married a Southerner, so I don't agree. I love
if you thought Jeff was antagonistic in our Rene Girard episode a few weeks back, Jeff,
buckle up.
He's just
I'm
going
just
for
predicting
it.
here. Feeling feisty.
Look,
Happy Friday.
I'm just testing the waters, seeing what bites. That one didn't get any. Yeah. I do see our subscribers going up as I look down right now on YouTube.
Oh, nope, and it's dropping again.
Yep. Hey,
Whoa.
oh my goodness.
Plummeting.
Now we're going to get the biggest numbers ever.
That's it.
For the show.
You
This is
keep
going to be
saying
huge.
this. Are you going to get everybody from Mount St. Mary's?
Yeah, I'm going to get all 400 people from Mount St. Mary's.
If you had 400 a day, it would actually be pretty good for us. So I'd be pretty happy with that.
No, I think we're going to blow out the numbers. I mean it. This is going to be a big show.
You got how many in your Legatus chapter? Like another 20 there?
Yeah, right. Exactly. We're growing now. We're building it. We're building it out.
And, you haven't had a day job for 30 years, so I can't count on that one.
Wow. Yeah, we've never gone there, right?
This is so funny. It's such a mystery.
All right.
Guess.
I've artfully evaded it, but no.
We'll talk about it. We won't talk about it.
So I have a IT technology consulting business. We've been doing it. My wife and I have done it for 30 years.
Okay.
We were lucky enough to be working at home, right? Before that was something a lot of people did. So we were doing it, back in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
And, we're using the technology to actually allow us to manage our house a little better, manage our children better, to be there, as they were growing up. It was a real gift.
Cool.
So we work with larger clients that need, consulting and project management in the technology area. And luckily that's been a rather good space. So we've been able to do that for a long time.
Do you have employees?
No.
Just the two of you?
No, at one time we did.
Yeah.
And after a while, it was great. But after a while, we're kind of like, you know what, we just sort of like keeping our lives manageable. So
Sure.
we didn't base our life around
Yeah.
our career. That was a very conscious choice. We based our career around our life, and we figured that out early, and that was a great
I'm
blessing.
grateful to hear that because I was afraid that all your employees would be very offended by your lack of acknowledging their existence throughout the
They're
last.
super upset right now.
But you did say something super nice about your wife last show. So your coworker,
I covered it, right?
yeah, you got this all
Nailed
covered.
it.
Yeah.
Every stakeholder in your life feels very blessed by your
Yeah.
appearance on the BeatiDudes.
Well, she gave me the day off today, so I better be nice.
That's
right?
great.
Okay,
That's great.
yeah. PTO.
Exactly.
Get some vodka while you're out.
Believe me, she loves vodka. She's got
She
some.
does?
in
Two
there.
of those
Yeah.
have her name on it.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
giving it all away.
Exactly.
Well, she is Italian.
Baby, I brought you a
Well,
bag.
she's not Italian. She's actually from Richmond, and she's she's
yes.
she's a Richmonder. They don't even. You're not anything else. When you're from Richmond, it's just you're from Richmond.
Oh,
Because she
okay.
wasn't a war bride.
She wasn't a war bride. She doesn't have the glamorama of the war bride.
She was just an escape from D.C. bride.
Yeah, right. She escaped me from DC, which is really great. Yeah, but she's like my mom. She's got a pretty good mouth on her, and she's tough, and She knows how to raise 3 boys.
That's awesome.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
As most wives enjoy.
Well,
first of all,
Italian.
First of
makes
all,
sense.
being compared to their mother-in-law is the number one thing.
Please do that.
Yeah.
Well, which is funny that I don't think my wife, I'll find out if she minds. I don't think she would mind.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
My wife would
A few
actually love
weeks.
it. My wife would love it.
Yeah, I think it depends. Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends. So, my mom's such a unique person,
We all love our mothers-in-laws.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's better that way. If we can all, it's sort of like you just have to make up your mind to like them.
The movie
That's it, right?
stereotype's a bit of a movie stereotype.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a lot of people I don't like, but my mother-in-law's one of them I do like.
Good night. There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to have a hot dinner waiting for you tonight.
Yeah.
Good sentence
We're going to
structure.
have a great Easter. Everyone's going to be smiling around the table.
That's
It's gonna be
right.
awesome. Yeah.
Who are you talking about on that podcast?
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
Love you.
you listen to my podcast? Thanks, family.
That's when you ask him to write the check for the Catholic school tuition, right? He's like,
Nice.
Listen, I'll just take a punch like and hit that subscribe button.
That's it.
You bet.
Wait, punch, like, and hit that subscribe button.
Do it all.
Very violent.
Listen, it's
Jeff
gonna
is
get weird.
just weirdly aggressive.
Press it. Press like.
we are going to arm wrestle.
Oh, I would do it.
No,
Dude,
no way. I'm not doing it.
It's happened before.
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
one ahead of you on the vodka,
Yeah, no,
so
I'm
I
not
think I
doing
would
it.
whip you. There's
I
a chance
think
I'd
you would
throw
whip
through
me.
the wall.
You would whip me. I'm not doing it. No
Hey,
way.
if I arm wrestled you, we could expand the studio. I'd throw you through the wall with my arm.
I could see that. And
Prove it.
Well, you've already done the Tebow
Bet.
squeeze, so I mean, how can you're undefeated?
Yeah, I
tough.
met a guy in Texas who squeezed Tebow in a squeeze off and is still ticking strong. Like that's what you're going to describe to happen today.
It didn't throw him into arrhythmia or something for the rest of his life. Or
We don't know. Have you seen him lately?
I don't see Tebow anymore. I guess
Exactly my point.
yeah, he's married to like a starlet or something,
Oh,
right?
man,
Isn't he?
that's another problem. I mean, he's too busy to hang out with us.
She doesn't let him on social media.
Exactly. He used to want to be on the show. Now I haven't heard from him.
Yeah, I don't even see him on college football that much. I don't know where he is. Tim, come on the BeatiDudes, right?
Bingo.
Come on,
He's
Tim.
not even in the Heisman race right now.
That joke we did earlier, we didn't mean it. That wasn't.
Wait, we?
I did it. I take full responsibility for that joke.
He knows the royal we.
Right. I wrote it last week. Completely not spontaneous.
We are grateful to have you here.
We're great. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
So
for
you
having me.
got your Mary socks in the first show. A question for you. You represent Mount St. Mary's College better than anybody I've ever met, Bill. and my question to start off is there a way in which Mary's presented herself that you most resonate with or that you feel the closest to right now? Is there like a specific apparition moment version?
Certainly, I think it's Mary as a dragon slayer. I think it's Mary as a hero, right? Because it's so underdeveloped as an idea, even though it's right there in front of us. Yes, Mary at the cross, Mary at the manger, these are all beautiful scenes, right? But Mary as a dragon slayer gets lost. Her courage, right, to say yes. Certainly the devil was attacking her, from the beginning, right? And she withstood that, and she gave us Jesus, and she's just the prototype of a hero. There's just no doubt about it. So I think that's my favorite, apparition or image of Mary because it's just not known. But you see it subtly in some Catholic artwork when you see you see very subtly her dainty foot on the back of the snake's head. It's not usually a sword.
There's
it's not
a sword. Yeah,
it's
the St. Michael.
Yeah, it's different than St. Michael, but I think it's just a swashbuckling.
Isn't that funny? Like if you were to take like modern day like warfare, if you saw somebody go with a sword and stab a snake, you'd be like, that was awesome.
Right.
If you saw somebody else walk over barefoot and kill it, and you'd be like, what?
Right.
You're amazing.
Right. Very much so. And I just think the Catholic Church has gotten sort of a rap that doesn't really make sense in terms of its view on women. Its view on women is that they're heroes.
Yeah.
And they're certainly because they go through the trial of birth, but also because they slay dragons, and that's just the truth. I mean, we all know we have wonderful wives, and you see it right everywhere, and you're like, this is what it's all about. So we're here to correct the record.
I was listening to one of the exorcist priests who was on a podcast with whoever, doesn't matter, and just talking about the where demons kind of fall or cower before Mary, right? As a
good exorcist.
young girl, right? Like this leading figure is like a teenage girl, and that God would be so humble,
Right.
to come in and into the world through her, and just the power that she holds because of that.
Yeah, Nick, you nailed it. And the dragon stood before the woman to devour her child. What does it tell you about the devil? The devil goes after women and children first. It's why a man has to be ready to be a hero himself, right? And of course, every man is born of woman, right? So you're getting the heroic gene passed on to you, right? And what is the devil interested in? Depopulation, to devour the child. So if you're looking for the characteristics of the devil, if you're looking to say, where is he? What's he doing? Those are two things that you want to see. And there's a certain way to read the Old Testament where it's actually a warning, right, against human sacrifice. From the Ammonites to the Moabites to all of the tribes, right? That was what they did. They practiced that bloody, obscene ritual, and the whole book could be viewed that way. The golden calf, right, I never knew what the golden calf was until I started doing my research, and I said, the golden calf is Baal, a bull, the horned bovine, but it's in its infancy, right? It's at the beginning when the Jews come out of Egypt, right?
Yeah.
And so he's not fully baked, but he's already pursuing, right, the people of God. And so then as the Old Testament progresses, he becomes a full-blown Moloch or Baal, right, who God warns over and over again, do not get mixed up with these people. And modern interpretations are, this is a racial thing. It's not. It's a moral thing. God's saying, do not marry into people who believe in hurting other people or children or even animals. Honestly, I think it's for the purpose of sacrifice of animals. So I think that's really what it is. And of course, again, the modern interpretation sort of twist it and flip it to get us away from really what is going on. And then if you look at the New Testament in light of that, right, of the idea the Old Testament is warning you against this, then the New Testament is about getting a child born, right? And what that means for humanity. So it's a certain way to look at it. And all this I've learned from just, my research, and that, and the Garden of Eden, right? The Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve leave, when they're cast out, right? The only religion on the face of the earth, when you think about it, because Abraham doesn't come around for 1,000 years later, is the religion of the snake. That's all there is. There's no Judaism. There's no Christianity. There's no Islam. There's nothing until Abraham, right, and Isaac go to the mountain. Yeah. So it's just evil was pervading the earth. And then, of course, Christ comes to save the world. But that's stuff just from rethinking it all and saying, look, I'm sure a theologian can come on and tell me I'm not right. But that's what I got out of it. Yeah.
It's part of the journey. Speaking of the journey, I want to ask you a question. This, for all the dudes, we're filming this at the start of Holy Week. We're about to enter into the Super Bowl of the Catholic faith and of our faith, and walk with Christ, right? I mean, if it wasn't for the resurrection, none of us would be sitting around this tiny table. We'd probably be professional football players.
We'd have all gone to Emmett Smith
almost
University.
Tracking. I'm just right behind you.
Yeah, right. How is this Lent playing out for you, especially leading into these final days in the Triduum? And this is just like a personal exploration, whether it's Mary's play in your journey this Lent, or it's a practice or something you've done that has prepared your heart to experience Lent differently and uniquely this time? It's kind of a question for everybody. And I'll just give you a quick one because when I ask the questions, I like to give you time to think.
Thank you.
Yeah. So between a couple different things we were facing in life and in work, I ended up twice doing the Mary Undoer of Knots novena during this Lent. And it's like cheating. There's like an unlock in your heart that not only does the anxiety or something get relieved and you feel this warmth around you, it's like a clarity of vision and an understanding that has happened twice. I don't know why I'm not doing it right now. I mean, maybe I'll just start in the middle of this show because it is unbelievable, except for that it is always believable when it's of God and of true intent. So I don't know. That's been one of the greatest parts of my Lenten journey is the connection to Mary Undoer of Knots, who I had zero connection to leading into this.
Agreed.
Any of you dudos?
I'll just say I can't separate this Lent from being on this show. It's pretty special, right, for me.
Thank you.
But I would just say overall, I do the Exodus 90 stuff.
Yeah.
I do the cold showers or cold plunge.
Yeah.
I'm fasting today. So, some suffering, hopefully
good.
some redemptive suffering and maybe lose a little weight while I'm at it.
You look amazing.
Well, thank you.
When I first met you, I said you have amazing teeth.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, we just let it go like that was a normal way to
Yeah, I know. I didn't know what to say. I was like,
Hey,
what am I getting into here?
nice to meet you. You have amazing teeth. Only Jeff.
I was unhinged before you guys showed up.
Oh, I know. I've been around you all day. I know.
Mine hasn't been specifically Marian this go around, but I've been trying to at least meditate on one of the Stations of the Cross this Lent, like each night, it's just going through, and haven't been as consistent as I wanted to be. But every time I do it, I find myself it's like realizing who God is and who is like what His love is for us.
Was there any that jumped out more specifically across those?
Really just the first two. I keep getting stuck on those because it's Jesus is condemned to death, and you just see all the injustices that are going on there and all the ways where, I mean, we have so many different moments in our own lives where there can be confusion or somebody talking about us behind our back or whatever the thing is where it's an injustice. And then you've got the Son of God who's completely innocent, and you've got, Pontius Pilate saying, well, I'm just going to wash my hands of this and, say I'm not guilty of this. You are, but his name is the only one we recite in the creed every mass, right? And for 2,000 years. So we still remember the fact that he neglected his duty. And then you've got the scribes and the Pharisees, the priests, they were all shouting for his crucifixion. Then you have all these people who were supposed to be following him who weren't, and some of those were probably thinking he was going to be the next king who was going to overthrow the Romans. And anyway, there's just a lot to contemplate there and how many injustices were going on in that one moment. And so then, I don't know, it's hard to put into words, but just the way the Lord stands with us anytime there is an injustice, and then we can then unite it with him in that.
That's cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a 33-day Marian consecration, St. Louis de Montfort, that finished up on the, Solemnity of the Annunciation. So on March 25th. That was just like, there were so many good daily prayers in that, and like litanies of humility that were like beyond the normal litany of humility, like just like very rich, very in depth, and like meditation on like becoming like in like almost like putting yourself in the arms of Mary our mother, and just this like if think about your own children or whoever you're caring for in life, like they have no question that you're going to take care of them tomorrow, and how much more should we know that we'll be taken care of tomorrow.
It's awesome.
By Mary our mother.
So
I always feel like holding babies. This is why I have babies all the time. But I feel like turns out they grow up, but when you're holding a baby, And you see that part where the baby like gives in and completely trusts you and just does that melt even before they're asleep and they rest into you. I always have like, okay, I know Mary's doing that for me. So how can I rest my whole being into her? And I think it's just a great signal of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know my daughter entered this poetry competition? Nobody else from her school did. And then finally they kind of coerced one other kid to do it, but it's like a national deal across their whole schools that they're all a part of. And the poem she memorized, and then she has to like perform it basically, is Too Small a Price, about the good thief. And it is such a great poem. And she's so good at delivering it that I didn't tell my parents anything. And a couple nights ago, the sun was setting on Sunday night. We do our Sunday night like hangout tradition with my family. And I had my parents go out and sit on the back porch, your back porch, Paul. And such a dumb joke. And
No, it's fine. It never gets new.
I said, hey, Lorelai has a poem. And my parents thought she was just going to
Read some
say
poem.
some poem or whatever, something that she wrote. And she starts going through it. And my mom gasps halfway through it because she realizes what's happening. And they're still not even like completely aware of like what they're experiencing. And at the end, everybody's like moved by this thing. And there's airplanes and babies and stuff. But
Real
it
quick,
was
you're
so
in a
beautiful.
flight path. So that's why. So that's why there's airplanes.
Yeah, you're very close to DFW Airport. That's what that means.
Just to be clear,
There are airplanes.
That's fair.
I
flying
speak
over.
Jeffy's.
Yes.
To translate for the audience who's never been to Jeff's house.
There's hee-haws and babies and what was that one?
Yeah.
Donkeys.
I heard you say that every time your wife has a baby, she gets even more beautiful.
She does.
That's pretty
She gets
good.
younger.
That's pretty cool.
Not sure if I said it on the podcast.
I heard it on the podcast, one of the podcasts.
I thought you were just making me look good. I'm like, dude, John, 120 points for John Singleton.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and by the way, I have some beef with you, Paul.
But why?
The sewage system in the very back of the property, the concrete is broken through, and the city has to come and repair it. And I feel like you guys did a terrible job keeping up with that. And
Oh no, I actively chipped away at it the whole time I was
You had
living
a
there.
You
pickaxe.
can't flush diapers down the toilet.
Well,
You just can't do that.
That was the problem. Yeah.
it's so funny to buy your friend's house. So weird.
Thanks for blaming all the problems on me. Yeah.
Every time something happens, I'm like, Paul Colker.
If he didn't disclose those things, you can go back and sue
I
him.
didn't buy it from him, but I feel like there's this
I look
disclosure
forward,
that
I look
keeps
forward to
playing
buying that house someday after a few other people have lived there, and then I can own your
really
old house,
sweet.
Jeff.
Yeah, this is how podcast co-hosts work.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm going to buy your house.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
going to keep it going.
It'll work.
We're going to finish with a question.
Okay.
It's from our deck for 101 conversation starters for couples or co-hosts.
I'll take it.
But you're part of this, okay? And you can answer this. Well, let's just see what it is.
Co-host
I have no
is
idea.
scribbled in Sharpie for our audio listeners.
It's a dumb one. What?
Mostly
I think-
targeted at couples.
Nope, that's a dumb one. I don't know how this would ever enhance your marriage to ask people like
Yeah.
if you were to be kidnapped. Like that's not what it said.
You just made something up.
He's like, here's something better.
Yeah.
Okay, I hate these
All right,
questions.
Wait, you gave us this box.
I know. I wish I could hire blank to write and record a song from me to you.
I have a favorite artist, yes.
Oh my
So weird. Who would you hire to write a song from you to me?
Bob Dylan.
That's a good
I'm
one.
a huge fan. Yeah.
That's a very
Yeah.
good one.
He could do it.
What would it be about?
Probably friendship.
Yeah.
I'd pick a Pat Green, like Texas country about the BeatiDudes, like
Oh yeah.
cruising down a
114.
I-35. Yeah.
Mr. Rogers is who I would get to write a song for you.
I'd
Yeah,
understand
from me
that.
to you,
yeah,
yeah.
I get the melody.
Because, won't you be my neighbor or live in my house?
Won't you live in
My
house?
old house.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would probably get Yanni and just do a complete like pianic melody. Pianic.
Pianic at the disco? Oh, sure. Are you having a bit of a pianic at the disco?
You got going there, yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
sure
you
do.
know, you betcha. Golly
Oh,
gee.
Jeez.
Have yourself a hot dish.
Well,
That's
your
a real
Midwestern
hot
accent.
dish.
That's really good.
Well,
Piano.
Right in Midwest.
yeah, Midwest.
Good.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Pianic at the disco.
It's just instrumental, nothing to pianic about.
Just piano? Was that what you were going for?
Pianic melody.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Well, pianics.
Great question, Jeff.
Okay.
Great
Yeah, thanks.
question. You really enhanced our show.
Well, we will
they
see.
oversold this thing big time.
All right. This is for our audience. Describe someone you encountered recently who probably needs God in his or her life. Wow, I just pulled that one straight out of the text.
Amazing. Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Who needs God in their life?
Let's gossip in the comments. No, let's not and say we did, which would be a lie, but still.
You know what? How about change it to who is exemplifying God, like the light of God.
Who clearly has God in
There you
their
go.
life.
Make it the positive.
Yes, and hit us up in the comments.
And
with
also,
that.
Gary Chapman, your questions are really blowing it up right now.
What? And Raymond.
We want our money back.
And Raymond Presson.
Well, Raymond actually did a pretty good job. It was Gary's questions I'm having a problem with.
Oh, yeah, he's the blue side.
Blue side.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know who I think is exuding God in the world right now really well is Pierre Kostaki.
Because he's calling you.
Amazing.
No, I'll do a real one. I think that I watched Kevin Fitzpatrick. I think that kid, he was our very first guest on the show.
Kid.
He's got 4 daughters.
Yeah.
That little kid.
That guy.
No, that's like a cheap one. That's such an easy one because he's just one of those happy guys.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Rogers for sure. I mean, we can say people at this table if you just want to get this over with.
Oh, we're answering the question.
We don't have to. You can. Who's exuding God? Exuding God.
Well, it's got to be Jeff because you won the first contest. You won the second, so you get the third.
It is it's a competition. It's a competition.
Holiness is a competition.
Right.
Run so as to win. That's
Amazing.
It's biblical.
It's biblical. Any last feelings or thoughts or challenges for the audience? You want to challenge men?
Yeah, I would challenge men to learn more about Mary, learn more about history, and how about this about Catholicism in Europe and how it went from being everywhere to being almost nowhere or very few places that practice the faith. I think that's a great challenge. Look that up. Spend some time on it. It's pretty revealing.
Yeah, Pope Benedict has a former Pope Benedict has a great book on that. I think it's just called Europe, but it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, it didn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
That's a challenge to you. Let's not be European.
Yeah, that's one way to look at
We
it.
are BeatiDudes worldwide, so if you happen to be European,
We love you.
we love you.
Oh, of course.
I mean, this is like dueling pianos.
Be better.
If our Europe subscribers go through the roof, I'll start talking bad about Asia.
There it is.
And it's
All
not
right.
it's not the European
right.
people. I was born in Europe. It's
Right.
No, I
It's
was
the
kidding.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
the powers and principalities that we
Yeah.
struggle against, the wickedness in high
Yeah.
places. That's what
John,
we're
I was
talking
kidding. My ancestors are European.
about. Of course. I mean, probably. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Of course.
So
Right.
are mine.
Right.
What?
That's a shock. Yeah.
My ancestors moved into your ancestors' hut.
Yeah, I bet. You know what? Let's dig up that history. I bet that happened somewhere along the way. Shuffle binding.
Paul, get us out of here.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in the textbooks of history. And for the rest of you, we will
See you in the Eucharist.
God bless. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @ so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @ the _ BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.